Welcome back, Gems, to another episode of the Grateful Gem podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine Shannelle, and today's topic is expecting expectation. Please stick around because gems are definitely about to get dropped, so get ready. Before I get into this episode, I need everyone listening to this podcast right now to follow the podcast on IG at The Grateful Gem Pod and also follow me at Jasmine Shannelle. I'll spell everything out and put it in the episode notes. Okay, let's get started. Hey guys, I'm so excited to be recording this podcast episode. I know I've extended this last episode a little bit, but for good reason. I honestly just wanted a few more people to be able to hear that message and let that sink in so that when this episode came out, you would be able to fully hear the message that is being conveyed to you. It is still taking me some time to fully understand what it is that God is saying. And the last episode was really good to me because of how it came. And like I said, I don't record things just to record them. I record them as I'm going through them. So I just want you to know that you're not the only one going through this. I'm going through this as well. I am also in a season where it's unclear. I am praying for things that have not been revealed, or I pray for something. Say if I pray, for instance, I did a 3-day fast about 2 weeks ago, right after I recorded this episode, and one out of those 3 things have been answered. And I was just like, wow, that's how I came up with this next episode, part 2 of last episode. I'm really excited though, because I really feel like there is just so much meaning to what is being said, and it just helps you get through your day, helps you understand what's fully going on and what it is that you need to do in order to be able to really and fully understand what it is God is trying to reveal to you. So again, today's topic is expecting expectation. And I want to talk from a place of expectation. And for instance, have you ever sat down and prayed this prayer that was genuine? It was from your heart. You really meant it. You really need clarity. You really needed God to show up for you on this thing. And He didn't. Yeah. That's the story of my life right now as well. Like I said, I did a 3-day fast a couple weeks ago for 3 things, and one of those 3 things have been answered. And it was crazy because on the second day, God had already revealed the answer to the first day prayer. The second day, I haven't really got confirmation. I haven't got confirmation for that since I've prayed about it. And the third day, I definitely haven't gotten confirmation about that one. And there's some more things regarding the third day that I'm praying for, and I have been praying for, and I still don't have confirmation on those things. So that's why I wanted to talk about that today, because I know that I'm not the only one that is praying for things and waiting for answers from God, and I haven't received them. Or could it be that I have received them and I just don't accept what God is revealing to me? That can honestly be a very important factor. And it just honestly goes back to last episode where I talk about being able to be grateful for the small things. You know, even if God reveals the answer to your question, even if it's an answer that you don't want to hear, are you still going to be grateful for what God is telling you? Yeah, that's really a point where we have to get in a mindset where we're shifting our mindset and we're able to discern and differentiate what's being said from God and what is actually people's opinions or people's position in our lives, because we can get a word from God and then go try to validate it with people, and people will turn what God meant for good into something that's bad. Or they will turn the whole thing around and flip it. And they will turn it into something that wasn't even supposed to be. And that's why it's so important that you seek God for yourself. Don't seek validation from people. If people tell you something, take it to God. Let God confirm whether or not this is something that you're going to be doing. I haven't prayed, and this is crazy because I'm glad we're talking about this because it makes sense. I've been praying about confirmation and some steps that I need to take from some people and from some certain things in my life, and God has really opened those doors, and I haven't even prayed about those things. I haven't really vocalized those things. A friend brought them up to me the other day, and I was just like, wow, I really wanted to speak on this, but I just didn't. I was just waiting to see, what I needed to do. And I hadn't vocalized a prayer regarding this situation, but God knew my heart. God knew what I was saying inside my head to myself, how I was feeling. God knows the desires of our hearts. So don't ever think that there's something that goes missed from God, because even when you don't speak out loud, God still hears you. Even if you think it in your head, God is there. He knows what you're thinking. He knows how you're feeling. The words that you have not vocalized are heard. So don't ever think that He doesn't hear you, because He does. And I was like, okay, again, that wasn't something that I prayed about, and to me, it wasn't a big deal. So I'm like, God, thank you for confirming that, but can I get confirmation on this other thing I prayed about? And it's just like still nothing. Or maybe God has revealed the answer to me, and I don't accept the answer. So I'm steady waiting for something to change, or this big magic sign to hit me in the head that says, duh, ta-da, this is the answer, and it's never going to happen. So what happens when we're walking in expectation of expecting God to show up in a situation that He's already revealed the answer to? What happens when we pray for something that we need clarity on, or we pray for something that we want God to show up in, and we feel like God has not shown up? And keywords, I say we feel like God hasn't showed up, because just because we feel like God hasn't showed up does not mean that He hasn't showed up. So my question to you is, in this situation, when you're praying and you're asking God to remove people or bless your finances, bless your home, give you that car, give you that dream job, find you that significant other, give you that baby, bless your family. When you're praying for whatever it is that you're praying, when you need God to show up and God is silent, what do you do? I really want you to think about that. What do you do? How do you respond? I really honestly just want you to think about that. Think about how you react. And not only do I want you to think about how you react, but I also want you to think about how it makes you feel when you are praying for this thing, you're believing. And it's not that you feel like God can't answer your prayers, because you see God work miracles. You see God bless that person with the house. You see God remove cancer from someone's mother. You see God restore a relationship or a marriage that was broken. You see God do things that only God can do. So it's not that you don't believe. You believe, and you're believing like you've never believed before, because you believe that God can show up for you. But what feeling comes over you when you've prayed this prayer and you've been praying for years or months for God to reveal something to you or to bless a situation that you feel like is dead after so long because God hasn't revealed or gave you any answers regarding this subject? How does that make you feel? I'll tell you how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like, one, I feel like if I haven't heard from God, it's because I'm not trying hard enough. And this is not towards you. This is just genuinely how I feel right now. Because normally I'm able to really discern and hear God's voice. So I feel like right now that if I haven't really heard God's voice or seen God move in these situations, it's because either I'm not paying attention to what He's actually shown me, or two, He has already answered these prayers and revealed to me the outcome or some kind of situation or a resolution to the situation, and I have not accepted what He has revealed to me. And let me tell you, to be honest, let me take you back. So I started a new job last October. And when I started this job, I went from working 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at my last job. And I got a new job working 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I know a lot of people are like, why would you do that? 10 a.m. to 7, that's just so late. 8 to 4, I need my whole day. But for me, I don't like getting up early in the morning. Sad to say, but if anybody that know me, I do not like getting up in the morning. I'm going to be honest, it's not even getting up in the morning. It's the fact that when I'm asleep, I do not like to be disturbed. Because even when I worked at Citibank overnight, when I worked at 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., I would get up literally at the last minute to get ready to go to work. So it's not even about getting up in the morning. It's just when I have to wake up and start my day, I'm delayed. So serious. But anyways, so yeah, I was under the impression that I would be in this time schedule for a year. And let me tell y'all, we did shift bids. An email went out that if we wanted an earlier shift than what we already, or not what we already have, but if we wanted an earlier shift or a later shift, to let our managers know, because based off of our metrics is how we would be getting a new shift. And I was like, okay, I read the email, but I didn't respond. Because let me tell you, for one, in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to get an earlier shift. I haven't even been here that long. There's so many other people ahead of me. My metrics just got good. I went to being on a team where I didn't have any one-on-ones with my manager. I didn't really know how I was doing. I didn't really know, where I stood at metric-wise until January of this year. I moved over to a new team. My manager, we had a one-on-one. I reached out to her, and I have been in the green ever since. So proud of myself because I really have been working hard. But I felt like the work that I had put in was not enough. I just knew that I wasn't going to get a new shift. So I didn't bother emailing her because literally in my head, I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not emailing her because I don't want to be made a fool of. I don't want to send this email. And she's like, okay, just come and answer. And then I'm like, well, what shift did I get? She's like, oh, girl, you didn't get no new shift. You got 10 to 7. So I literally, to avoid the heartbreak of not getting a new shift, which it really didn't matter to me because, like I said, I don't mind working 10 to 7. Yeah, it's midday, but I feel like I'm okay with that because that's just the easier way for me not to have to get up earlier. But I still struggle with getting up at 10 o'clock anyway because I realize it's not about getting up in the morning. It's about getting up when I'm sleeping, literally. So, like I said, I was fine with my 10 to 7 schedule. So the time rolls by, the day comes, and she's walking around giving everybody their shifts. And, I'm just looking because I'm like, well, what's going on? And I hear people talking about their shifts and stuff. I'm like, oh, she's giving out new shifts. And so I literally immediately tell myself, well, gosh, I know I'm not going to get a new shift. She didn't even come over here. So I guess she's like, she ain't going to even bother telling me I got the same shift, whatever. I had already counted myself out. And I literally was like, wow, I wasn't shocked because, like I said, I wasn't expecting to get a new shift. So I had already accepted that I was still going to be in the same shift that I started out with because they didn't tell me that we would be eligible for a new shift. I was told I would be in this shift for a whole year before I could transfer over. I had to run different numbers, great numbers to get shift bids and all of those things. So, like I said, I had counted myself out. And so literally, I looked at her, go up to other people, and I'm like, oh, so happy for them because I know that people that work the 10 to 7 shift did not want to work the 10 to 7 shift. But again, I was fine with that because I don't mind working 10 to 7. It worked out perfect because I had to wait for my sister that gets off at 8. So, sometimes I would work till 7:30 when I had overtime. Again, it just works out perfect. So literally, you guys, my teammate, or my colleague called my name and we were talking and my manager comes out her office and she looks at me and I look at her and I'm like, was she going to say something? And so then she goes back in her office. So then me and my colleague, we're still talking, going back and forth. And after that, she comes back out and I see her like slowly walking over, but I'm just like pretending not to see her because I'm like, well, maybe she's going to someone else. So literally she walks up to me and she's like, Jasmine, do you want to know what shift you have? And I was like, yeah, 10 to 7. Like, you guys, I swear, I put my right hand on the Bible. That was literally my response. And I know she was looking at me like, you idiot. But seriously, that was my response. I said, yeah, 10 to 7, because I had already counted myself out. I just believed that my metrics was not good enough compared to other people's because, yeah, I had been working, but my work wasn't good enough. This lady says, no, your shift is 7:30 to 4 o'clock. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was so excited because, for one, I wasn't expecting a new shift. 2, I didn't even think I qualified for a new shift because, again, like I said, I had put in the work. I had been really working hard. I've been reaching out to her, trying to stay on top of my numbers, trying to make sure that each call is handled correctly, making sure that I'm researching information correctly, just going above and beyond to stay in that green because I take my numbers very seriously. And for me to hear that, I was just like, wow. Like, I couldn't believe it, honestly. I was in shock because I had already counted myself out. So to hear that I got that new shift, I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is nobody but God, because I went back to thinking, God, people was telling me, you're going to be in this shift for a year. You're going to be working 10 to 7. It took me a year to get to a new shift, and it's impossible for you guys to get a new shift. You guys just started, and here I am. October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months, because my shift starts in March. 6 months, and I've already got a new shift. And it's the earliest shift at that. So that means my numbers were not only good, but they were the top, because this is the early shift. She said the highest your numbers are determines what qualifies you for the earliest shift. 7:30 to 4 is the earliest shift of our shift bids. And in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, that's all good and all, but let's go back to that prayer that I prayed about last week. Like, God, can you just answer my prayer? Can you just tell me what's going on with this? Because I really don't understand. I've been trying to get clarity for a while now, and I just can't get it together. And it just goes back to the last episode. What are you doing with what you already have? I'm sitting here so busy worried about a prayer that I prayed about, and God is continuously still blessing me for things I haven't even asked for. And I'm so consumed with what I previously prayed that I'm not able to be thankful and grateful for what God just did for me. Something that has from my understanding, not been done yet. Something that people had already disqualified me for, and I also disqualified myself. Something that was turned impossible was turned possible. And I'm sitting here worried about a prayer that hasn't been answered. And I was like, wow. And I literally, the whole day, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, I cannot believe I got this early shift. Like, I was not expecting this. Literally, I kept saying that all day. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this. And I was like, okay, cool. Mind you, let me go back before I got my shift bid. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I got my shift bid, I had a one-on-one with my manager. I was the first one to get a one-on-one with my manager because I had been emailing her back and forth for like a couple of weeks, asking her when I was going to get a one-on-one because I really wanted to know where my numbers were. I hadn't had a one-on-one. It's been 5 months. I really don't know where I'm at. I feel like I'm doing good, but then again, I don't know. What can I improve on? So I get a one-on-one, talking to my manager. I'm in there taking notes. We're going over each thing. She's explaining stuff to me. I'm asking questions. And boom, she hands me this paper. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what is this? A write-up? I got a write-up. Because like I said, y'all, I wait till last minute to get up and go to work. So I get there like at the grace period. So sometimes it goes like 2 minutes over or 1 minute early, and they count that. You guys, they don't play. But she hands me this paper, and I'm already in my mind like, God, Jasmine, you got to write up on your first one-on-one. And then you got the nerve to be sitting here writing this lady acting like you so... It's funny when I think about it, but this is seriously like my thoughts. I'm sitting here disqualifying myself again, and I don't even realize it. But literally, she hands me this paper, and she's like, you guys are getting a permanent raise in March, but I wanted just to let you know that I gave you a raise starting February 1st. It started on the 1st. It's going to be prorated back to the 1st. So your next check will, from the 1st going forward, will be this amount. And then you'll get your permanent raise in March. She was like, that starts in March, but this started like a week ago. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. Like, I was not and I literally told her I was not expecting this. And she was like, you deserved it. You worked so hard. You've been reaching out. You've been standing on top of your numbers. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And she was like, no, thank yourself, because you have really put in the work that you deserve this. And I was like, oh, Jasmine, you deserve this. So literally, I walked back to my desk and I kept saying, Jasmine, you deserve this. You deserve this. Because, again, with the shift bid, I disqualified myself because, yeah, I'm working hard, but I'm not working hard as the next person. At least I'm not in my mind. But really, I felt like I was working hard. But to keep myself from getting too excited about something that I feel like I didn't deserve, I disqualified myself. So, again, I get to my desk and I'm thinking, and I'm like, God, this is awesome. I got a new shift. Well, at this time, I hadn't got a new shift yet, but I got a raise. People said that we wouldn't be getting raises till a year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, when we first got there, people was telling us, like, oh, you're not going to be able to get a raise until a year comes for your year-end review. You're not going to get a shift bid into the end year. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't care, This pay is good for me. It's better. It's more than what I was making at any other jobs. I went from working 2 or 3 jobs to working 1 job, being able to pay my bills. So I was excited, And again, I wasn't looking for an earlier shift because I don't mind working 10 to 7 because I don't like getting up early, or I don't have to get up to get woken up out of my sleep. So again, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes back to the last episode. What are you doing with what God already gave you? You want a better job. What are you doing with the job that you have? Are you praying every morning for that new job, but you're not putting in any work? Are you showing up to the job late? Are you doing the best that you can do, or are you doing stuff to just get you by? What are you doing so that even when people around you want to know, like, well, what is she doing that she's getting all these things? And let me tell y'all, favor ain't fair. People was mad about these shift bids. People was trying to switch, and I was like, no. And I thought about this. God qualified me for something that I felt like I was disqualified for. How do you think God would react for Him blessing you for something that you didn't even ask for? How do you think He would have reacted had I gave my shift away to somebody else? I literally thought about that. Like, people was asking me, like, you don't even want an earlier shift. You say you don't like getting up early. I'll switch with you. And I literally considered it. I was like, yeah, I'll think about it. Like, you could probably have my shift because I really don't know if I'm going to be able to get up at 7:30. And that's honestly just a way for me to be lazy because there's nothing wrong with me that I can't get up on time. Except the fact that I don't like to be woken up out of my sleep. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll think about it. I'll let you know. And literally when I walked out from her, I had a thought cross my mind. Would God be okay with you giving away this shift? This is something that you didn't even pray for. You didn't ask for it. Yeah, you worked hard for it. But God gave it to you. And you didn't even ask. Imagine what happens when we pray for things and we ask for things and we get them and we give it away. So do you know how God would feel if I had given something away that I hadn't asked for? Like, this, literally, I want y'all to think about this. If you're praying for a house that has all these things and you don't get it, but then you turn around and not pray for a house that has all these things, but you do get it. But because you didn't ask for it, you don't know how to appreciate it, so you give it away, thinking that it's not for you because you didn't ask for it. How would God feel? How would you feel if you gave somebody something that they didn't ask for and they didn't know how to appreciate it? That is literally the thought that went through my mind. I don't know how else to put this. Like, I really hope you guys are really understanding what I'm saying. Because when you're waiting and walking in expectation of expecting a prayer or something to come to you that you've prayed for or that you've asked for, watch the things that come to you that you have not prayed for. You've been working 3 jobs and now you got that one job and you hate that one job. So you leave that one job and go back to 3 jobs? Do you know? Think about that. Think about it. Think about how a slap in the face that is to anybody. It's like a thank you, but no thank you. That Ariana Grande song, thank you, next. Thank you, next. Literally. And I was just like, oh my God, like, and let me tell y'all, God, I'm telling you, I wish I could just literally say all of this stuff the way I feel it or the way that I hear it to myself, because when I hear it and when I feel it, it literally makes so much sense. And I pray that you guys are able to hear it and see it the way that I see it, because I thought about that. I'm sitting here every day journaling, praying about these 2 things that God has not revealed in my fast. That God has blessed me with 2 things, literally. I cannot make this up. 2 things that I have not even prayed for, God has blessed me with. And then I thought about this. What if the 2 things that God sent me go along with the 2 things that I prayed for? But because I don't know what God is doing, I don't have a blueprint of what God is doing. So I didn't have the vision to pray for these things because I needed them. But because God loves us so much, He gives us what we need and not what we want. Oh, y'all. This literally blew my mind. I was just like, oh my God, like, seriously. And that's another thing why I said I wanted to wait and record this episode, because let me tell y'all, these things happened over the time while I was waiting for God to give me the okay to record this episode. And it's amazing because I'm able to sit here and give you examples. So this isn't something that I'm just making up. This isn't something that didn't happen in real life. This literally happened in real life. Literally. 2 things that I've prayed for have not been answered. Still have not been answered to this day. But the 2 things that I have not prayed for or didn't know to pray for have come to pass, and I wasn't expecting it. So what happens when your blessing is a blessing that you wasn't expecting because you didn't know you needed it? But because you're expecting God to answer the prayers that you've been praying for because you felt like you needed it, you're too busy worried about what God hasn't done that you can't be grateful for what He is doing. I don't know. I just really hope you guys understand what it is that I'm saying. Take a look at what you're praying for and go back and look and see within the last, let's do the last 30 days. Look back over your life within the last 30 days and tell me, what have God given you that you did not ask for, but you needed? Let me tell y'all, I needed an earlier shift because I could get so much done in a day with this shift. I needed a pay raise because I'm trying to set myself up financially for some things coming later this year. But you think I would have the common sense because I needed those? You would think I would pray for those. You think I would ask for those. But because I was already grateful for what I had and I accepted what God showed me, because again, I'm still thinking, you're not going to get a raise before a year. You're not going to get a new shift before a new year because that's what everybody else was telling me. So you know what I did? I settled for the pay rate that it was offered to me. I settled for the shift that was offered to me, and I stuck with that. I showed up on time within that grace period. I did my best, and I worked my behind off at my job because I'm using what God already gave me. You know how long I've been praying for a job that I don't have to go find another job to make my bills? Years. And literally when I first got this job, you know what I thought about doing? I thought about quitting. Because it wasn't what I thought I needed. So I'm going to tell y'all today, and I pray that you get this. But the very thing that you're thinking about giving up on, or the very thing that you're trying to return to the sender, stop and take a minute and say, do or will I regret this decision? Even though I didn't ask for it, do I need this? And I pray that you get some revelation of that. So, yeah, that's today's episode. Expectation. What do you do when God has not answered the prayers that you have been praying for, but instead He gives you other prayers or blessings that you haven't even prayed for? And you know what? I really want to know what you guys do. I'm going to tell you a few things to keep you in the loop and keep your head up. The first thing that you do is you keep praying. Don't stop. I don't care if you have to pray 10 times a day. God hears you. God will reveal to you. And sometimes God is silent vocally, but behind the scenes, He's working it out on your behalf. So don't ever think that God does not hear you, because He does. So don't give up. Keep praying. Keep seeking God. Don't seek validation from people. Get their opinions. Take it at face value and take it to God. Let Him confirm what it is that's going on in your life. Don't accept what people put over you, okay? Literally, I need you guys to take this so serious. Be serious about what it is that you're praying for. And thank God for the prayers that you haven't prayed, but the blessings that you got anyway. Because God loves us that much. So, that was today's episode. I'm so excited to have recorded this. I pray that this message got to you the way that it got to me. And I hope you have a great day. Have a blessed week. And play these back as many times as you need them. Because that's what they're here for. Use them when you need them. Even when you don't need them, use them. But I hope you continue to shine as the gems you are. I will see you on the next episode. Be blessed and have a good one.